The wrench slipped again. Marcus Bennett swore under his breath and readjusted his grip on the rusted bolt beneath Mrs. Chen's ancient Honda. Sweat dripped from his dark brown forehead despite the cool November air filtering through the garage bay. His back ached. His hands were covered in grease and small cuts. The clock on the wall read 7:43 p.m. He was supposed to pick up Maya and Isaiah from his sister's house at 7:30. "Marcus," his boss, Tommy, shouted from the office. "You almost done? I need to lock up." "5 minutes," Marcus called back, knowing it would take at least 15. The bolt finally gave. Marcus slid out from under the car, his worn coveralls stained with oil that would never wash out completely. His reflection in the Honda's side mirror showed a tired man. 32 years old, but looking closer to 40. Deep-set brown eyes carrying weight that went beyond physical exhaustion. A strong jawline covered in the stubble he hadn't had time to shave. Dark skin that hadn't seen proper sunlight in weeks because he lived either in this garage or in the cramped apartment with his 2 kids. 3 years. It had been 3 years since Simone left. 3 years of single fatherhood. 3 years of making it work on a mechanic's salary. 3 years of telling Maya and Isaiah that Mommy loved them but couldn't be with them right now. 3 years of wondering what he'd done wrong. Marcus cleaned up quickly and punched out. His 2008 Toyota Camry sat in the employee lot, passenger door held closed with duct tape after Maya had accidentally slammed it too hard last month. He'd fix it eventually. When there was time. When there was money. The drive to his sister Keisha's house took 20 minutes. She opened the door before he could knock, her expression a mixture of sympathy and frustration. "They're asleep on the couch," Keisha said quietly. Maya wouldn't go down until Isaiah did, and Isaiah was asking about Simone again. Marcus's chest tightened. "What did you tell him?" "Same thing you tell him, that Mommy loves him." Keisha crossed her arms. "Marcus, when are you going to stop protecting her?" She walked out. No explanation, no calls, nothing. She had her reasons. Did she? Or did she just decide being a mother was too hard? Marcus didn't answer. He moved past Keisha into the living room where his children slept tangled together under a blanket. Maya, 7 years old, her natural hair in neat braids Keisha had done. Isaiah, 5, still clutching his stuffed dinosaur. Both of them beautiful, both of them looking more like Simone every day. "Come on, baby girl," Marcus whispered, lifting Maya carefully. She stirred but didn't wake. Keisha carried Isaiah to the car. They got both kids buckled in silence. "You need help, Marcus," Keisha said before he left. "You can't keep doing this alone." "I'm managing." "No, you're surviving. There's a difference. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. The apartment was on the 3rd floor of a building that had seen better decades. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen barely big enough to turn around in. But it was theirs. Clean, if cluttered. Safe, if not luxurious. Marcus carried Maya to the bedroom she shared with Isaiah. Set her down gently, pulled the covers up, kissed her forehead, did the same with Isaiah after tucking the dinosaur under his arm. "Love you both," he whispered. In the kitchen, he opened the refrigerator. Leftover spaghetti from 2 nights ago, half a gallon of milk, some cheese slices, eggs. He needed to grocery shop, but payday wasn't until Friday, and rent had taken most of the last week's check. Marcus heated the spaghetti in the microwave and ate standing up, too tired to sit. On the counter sat a stack of bills. Electric. Water. Credit card he'd had to use when Isaiah got sick last month. Medical co-pays. All of them stamped with red, past due notices. He was drowning in slow motion. After eating, Marcus showered quickly and checked on the kids 1 more time. Maya had kicked her covers off. He tucked her back in. Isaiah was talking in his sleep, something about dinosaurs and Mommy. Marcus stood in the doorway watching them. These 2 small people were everything. His reason for getting up. His reason for working 14-hour days. His reason for not completely falling apart when Simone had packed a single bag 3 years ago and walked out their door without looking back. She'd left a note. Short, clinical. "I can't do this anymore, I'm sorry. Take care of our babies. Don't look for me." That was it. No explanation, no forwarding address. Her phone number disconnected within days. Social media accounts deleted. It was like she'd vanished into smoke. Marcus had looked anyway. Filed a missing persons report. Hired a cheap private investigator with money he didn't have. Nothing. Simone Bennett, age 29, mother of 2, had simply ceased to exist. Eventually, Marcus had to accept it. She didn't want to be found. She'd chosen to leave, chosen to abandon their family. So he'd stopped searching and started surviving. In his bedroom, really just a corner of the living room partitioned by a curtain, Marcus lay on the pull-out couch that served as his bed. Above him, a photo hung on the wall. Their wedding day. Marcus in a suit he'd borrowed from his cousin. Simone in a simple white dress from a consignment shop. Both of them young, hopeful, in love. Simone's smile in that photo still made his chest ache. Her deep brown skin glowing in the sunlight. Natural hair styled in elegant locks. Hazel eyes that had seen him, really seen him, in a way no one else ever had. "Why?" Marcus whispered to the photo like he did most nights. "Why did you leave us?" The photo, as always, had no answer. He was almost asleep when his phone buzzed. A text from Tommy. "Need you to cover Jerry's shift tomorrow. He's out sick. Double time." Marcus closed his eyes. That meant Maya and Isaiah would spend another full day with Keisha. Another day of disappointing them. But double time meant catching up on bills. Meant maybe getting Isaiah's dinosaur backpack he'd been asking for. "I'll be there," Marcus replied. Sleep came fitfully, filled with dreams of Simone walking away while he called her name. Saturday morning came too fast. Marcus dropped the kids at Keisha's by 6 a.m. and made it to the garage by 6:30. The day was brutal. 4 oil changes, 2 brake jobs, and a transmission that fought him for 3 hours. By 4 p.m., his entire body screamed for rest. "You got one more," Tommy said, tossing him keys. "Lady with a dead battery. Jump it and you're done." The car was in the parking lot across the street. Marcus grabbed the jumper cables and headed over. The November wind cut through his coveralls. Storm clouds gathered overhead, promising rain. He was halfway across the street when he saw it. A pawn shop he'd passed 1,000 times but never entered. "Cash for gold," read the neon sign. In the window display, jewelry glinted under harsh fluorescent lights. And there, on a small velvet stand, was a ring. Marcus stopped dead in the crosswalk. A car honked. He barely heard it. The ring was silver, simple with a small diamond. More chip than stone, really. On the band, barely visible from this distance, was an inscription. Marcus knew that ring. He'd saved for 6 months to buy it. Had it engraved himself. "Forever starts today." M. Simone's wedding ring. His feet moved before his brain caught up. He crossed to the pawn shop and pushed open the door. A bell chimed. The shop smelled like old leather and desperation. Behind the counter sat a woman. Not what Marcus expected. She was around 40, black, with natural hair cut short and stylish, wearing a business suit that looked expensive. Her dark eyes assessed him with the practiced gaze of someone who'd seen every kind of person walk through these doors. "Help you?" she asked. Her voice was smooth, professional. Marcus pointed at the window display. That ring. The silver one with the small diamond. "How much?" The woman turned to look. "150. "Can I see it?" She retrieved the ring carefully and placed it on the counter. Marcus picked it up with hands that trembled slightly. Turned it over. There, on the inside of the band, was the inscription in his own handwriting. "Forever starts today. M." The world tilted. "You all right?" the woman asked, concern creeping into her voice. "This ring," Marcus said hoarsely. "Where did it come from?" "Can't tell you that. Customer confidentiality." "Please." Marcus looked up at her. "This was my wife's wedding ring. She disappeared 3 years ago. I need to know where you got this." The woman studied him for a long moment. Something in her expression shifted. "Hold on." She disappeared into a back office. Marcus stood at the counter, the ring clutched in his fist, heart hammering. After several minutes, the woman returned with a worn ledger. "Ring came in 6 days ago," she said quietly. Woman brought it in. Young, black, looked rough. Really rough, like she'd been living on the streets. Marcus's throat closed. Did she give a name? Sarah Mitchell, probably fake. The woman looked at him directly. She needed money fast. Only got $75 for it, which tells you how desperate she was. That ring's worth at least $300. Did she say anything? Anything at all? Just that she needed the money for bus fare. Said she was trying to get home. Home. Simone had been here 6 days ago. Alive. Trying to get home. Which direction did she go when she left? The woman hesitated. Then she moved to the security monitor behind the counter and rewound the footage. There. On the grainy screen, Marcus saw her. Thin, gaunt, wearing clothes that hung off her frame, hair wrapped in a dirty scarf. But it was Simone. His Simone. She exited the shop and turned right, walked quickly, head down, shoulders hunched. "I need this footage," Marcus said urgently. "I can't just—" "Please." His voice cracked. "That's my wife. The mother of my children. She's been gone for 3 years and I just want to find her. I just want to know she's okay." The woman was quiet for a moment. Then she pulled out her phone, recorded the security footage playing on the monitor, and texted it to Marcus's number. "What's your name?" Marcus asked. "Natasha. Natasha Price. I own this shop." She paused. "I've seen a lot of desperate people come through that door. Your wife, she looked like someone running from something. Be careful when you find her. She might not want to be found." Marcus bought the ring for $150 he couldn't afford, put it on a chain around his neck, and walked out into the gathering storm. Natasha Price watched the man leave, something twisting in her chest. She'd owned Golden Pawn for 15 years, built it from a single struggling shop into a chain of 7 stores across the city. She'd seen thousands of transactions, thousands of desperate people selling pieces of their lives for quick cash. But something about this one felt different. That ring. That man's face when he'd seen it. Natasha pulled up the security footage again. Watched the thin woman, Sarah or Simone or whoever she really was, count the $75 with shaking hands. Watched her glance over her shoulder before hurrying out. A woman running from something. Or someone. Natasha made a decision. She locked the shop early, got in her Mercedes, and drove in the direction the woman had gone 6 days ago. The neighborhood deteriorated quickly. Abandoned buildings, homeless encampments, the parts of the city most people pretended didn't exist. She found the woman 2 hours later. Simone Bennett sat on a bench outside a closed church, wrapped in a thin jacket that did nothing against the November cold. Her head was down, arms wrapped around herself. Next to her was a small backpack. Everything she owned, probably. Natasha parked and approached slowly. "Simone?" The woman's head snapped up. Fear flooded her face. She stood quickly, ready to run. "Wait," Natasha said, hands raised. "I'm not here to hurt you. I own the pawn shop, the one where you sold your wedding ring." Simone's eyes widened. "What do you want?" "Your husband came in today. Marcus. He saw your ring." All color drained from Simone's face. She swayed. Natasha moved forward instinctively, catching her arm. "He can't find me," Simone whispered. "Please, he can't find me. He's looking for you." "No, no, no, no." Tears streamed down Simone's face. "I can't go back. It's not safe. He's not—" She stopped herself. He's not what? Natasha asked gently. But Simone had shut down. She pulled away from Natasha's grip. I have to go. Wait, at least tell me why you left. Marcus said you disappeared 3 years ago. Left your children. The word children broke something in Simone. She collapsed back onto the bench, body shaking with sobs. Maya and Isaiah, are they okay? Are they safe? They're fine, with their father. Does he? Simone's voice cracked. Does he hate me? I think he's just confused and heartbroken. Simone covered her face with her hands. For a long moment she said nothing. Then, so quietly, Natasha almost missed it. I left to protect them. From what? From me. Simone looked up. Her hazel eyes were haunted. From what I did, from what I'm involved with. If I'd stayed, they would have been in danger. All of them. Natasha sat down on the bench. Around them, the city hummed with Saturday night traffic. Somewhere, a siren wailed. The wind picked up, bringing the first drops of rain. Whatever it is, Natasha said quietly, maybe Marcus deserves to know the truth. The truth will destroy him. Not knowing is destroying him already. Simone was silent. Then she pulled something from her pocket. A folded photograph, worn soft from handling. She opened it carefully. 2 children. A little girl with braids and a little boy with a dinosaur toy. Maya and Isaiah, 3 years younger. I carry this everywhere, Simone whispered. Every night I look at it and tell myself I did the right thing, that leaving them was the only way to keep them safe. Safe from what? But before Simone could answer, headlights swept across the bench. A black SUV pulled up to the curb. 2 men got out, large, intimidating, moving with purpose. Simone's entire body went rigid. Oh God, they found me. Who? Run. Simone grabbed Natasha's arm. You need to run, now. The men were 20 feet away, 15, 10. Natasha stood, positioning herself between them and Simone. Who are you? What do you want? Step aside, ma'am, the first man said. He was tall, white, with cold eyes. This doesn't concern you. The hell it doesn't. The second man, shorter but broader, reached for Simone. Natasha blocked him. Don't touch her. Lady, you're making a mistake. No, Natasha said firmly. I think you are. She pulled out her phone and held it up. I've already called 911. Police are 2 minutes away. You want to explain to them why you're grabbing a woman off the street. It was a bluff. She hadn't called anyone. But the men hesitated. Sirens sounded in the distance. Actually getting closer. The first man swore. This isn't over, he said to Simone. Then both men got back in the SUV and drove away. Natasha's hands shook. What the hell was that? Simone was crying again. You shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have gotten involved. Too late. I'm involved. Natasha grabbed Simone's arm gently but firmly. And you're coming with me. Right now. I can't. Yes, you can. Those men just tried to grab you off the street. You're not safe out here. Natasha pulled her toward the Mercedes. Get in the car. I don't even know you. My name is Natasha Price. I'm 42 years old. I own 7 pawn shops. I'm divorced, no kids, and I have a guest room in my condo that you're going to use tonight because I'm not leaving you here to get grabbed by whoever those men were. Now get in the damn car. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was the fact that for the first time in 3 years, someone had chosen to protect her. Simone got in the car. Natasha's condo was in a secured building downtown. Modern, clean, safe. She led Simone inside, locked the door behind them, and engaged the deadbolt. Bathroom's there, Natasha said, pointing. Take a shower. I'll find you clean clothes. Simone stood in the entryway, looking lost. Why are you doing this? Because someone needs to. Natasha moved to her linen closet. And because I saw your husband's face today when he recognized that ring. Whatever happened between you two, whatever you're running from, that man still loves you. That's worth something. While Simone showered, Natasha made phone calls. First to her head of security at the main pawn shop. Review all footage from the past week. I need to know if anyone's been watching the store. Then she called her lawyer. Hypothetical situation: woman being pursued by dangerous men. What are my legal obligations? By the time Simone emerged, dressed in Natasha's sweatpants and t-shirt that hung loose on her thin frame, Natasha had a plan forming. "Sit," Natasha said, pointing to the couch, "and start talking." Simone sat. She looked smaller somehow, younger, despite the lines of hardship on her face. "I don't know where to start." "Start with why you left your family." Simone's hands twisted in her lap. "I worked as a paralegal, small firm downtown. Nothing special. Then I got assigned to a case." She took a shaky breath. "Real estate fraud. Seemed straightforward at first. Local developer buying properties cheap, promising renovations, then abandoning them. Displacing families. Okay. But it wasn't just fraud. The developer, Richard Castellanos, he was laundering money for a criminal organization. Millions of dollars through fake construction contracts. I found evidence, documents, bank records, everything." Natasha leaned forward. "Let me guess. You reported it." "I went to my boss first. He told me to drop it, said Castellanos had powerful friends, but I couldn't just ignore it. People were losing their homes." Simone's voice cracked. "So I went to the police, filed a formal complaint, handed over everything I'd found. And that's when things went wrong. 2 days later, Marcus's brake lines were cut. He almost died. Would have if the mechanic hadn't caught it during a routine inspection." Tears streamed down Simone's face. "Then Maya's school called. Said someone had tried to pick her up, claiming to be family. Security stopped them." Natasha's blood ran cold. "I got a message," Simone continued. "Typed note slipped under our apartment door. It said, 'Drop the complaint or we'll take everything from you, starting with your children.'" Jesus Christ! I went back to the police. They said they'd provide protection. But Castellanos was connected. He knew judges, prosecutors, cops. I didn't know who to trust. Simone looked at Natasha directly. So I made a choice. I withdrew the complaint. Told the police I'd made a mistake, that the evidence was circumstantial. But that wasn't enough. No, they wanted to make sure I'd never talk. They wanted me gone. Simone's voice dropped to a whisper. "One night, 2 men broke into our apartment. Marcus was working late. I was alone with the kids. They grabbed me, put a gun to my head, said if I ever spoke about what I'd seen, if I ever went to the authorities again, they'd kill Marcus and my babies in front of me." Natasha reached out and took Simone's hand. "They let me go with a warning, but I knew they'd be watching, always watching. So Simone's breath caught. I left. Wrote that note to Marcus, made it seem like I'd just abandoned them. Better he think I was a coward than know the truth and try to come after me. Try to protect me and get himself killed." "Where have you been for 3 years?" "Moving, never staying anywhere more than a few weeks. Working cash jobs, sleeping in shelters, on streets, anywhere I could hide." Simone pulled the photograph of her children from her pocket. "But I'm sick now. Really sick. I need treatment I can't afford. And I'm tired of running. I just want to see my babies one more time before—" She didn't finish. Didn't need to. "You pawned your wedding ring to get bus money back here," Natasha said quietly. Simone nodded. "I thought I could just watch them from a distance, see that they're okay, then leave again. But those men, they must have been watching the pawn shop. They found me so fast." Natasha stood and paced. Her mind worked through scenarios, options, risks. She'd built her business by taking calculated gambles. This wasn't business, but the same principles applied. "Marcus needs to know the truth," Natasha said finally. "No." Simone shot to her feet. "If he knows, he'll try to help. He'll put himself in danger. I can't—" "Listen to me." Natasha's voice was firm. "Those men are already looking for you. They'll keep looking. And if they find you near Marcus and the kids, what do you think happens then? Your family is already in danger. The only chance any of you have is to bring this into the light. Castellanos has too much power. Maybe 3 years ago, but things change. People get careless. Evidence emerges. Natasha pulled out her phone. I have contacts, investigative journalists, federal prosecutors I trust, people outside the local system. If your story is as big as you say, there are people who'd jump at the chance to take down Castellanos. Simone shook her head. It's too dangerous. More dangerous than living on the streets? More dangerous than those men grabbing you? Natasha moved closer. Simone, your kids need their mother. Marcus needs to know you didn't just abandon them, and you need to stop running. I'm scared. I know, but you don't have to be scared alone anymore. Simone sank back onto the couch. She stared at the photograph of Maya and Isaiah. What if I put them in more danger? What if you save them? Natasha countered. What if Marcus knows the truth and can actually protect his family properly? Right now, he's vulnerable because he doesn't know what he's up against. Silence stretched between them. Finally, Simone whispered, What do I have to do? First, we keep you safe. You stay here. No one knows about this place except my closest people. Natasha sat beside her. Second, I contact my journalists. Get them started on investigating Castellanos again. See what's changed in 3 years. Third, she paused. Third, we tell Marcus. He'll hate me. He might, but he deserves the truth. Natasha squeezed Simone's hand, and from what I saw today, I don't think hate is what he feels. Marcus drove through the rain, the wedding ring on its chain cold against his chest. The security footage played on repeat in his mind. Simone. Alive. Here. He'd driven past the church 3 times already. Each time his hands gripped the steering wheel tighter. Each time he almost stopped. But what would he say? What would he do if he found her? His phone rang. Tommy. Where are you? His boss asked. You were supposed to come back after the jump. Something came up. Marcus, I can't keep covering for you when you disappear. I know. I'm sorry. I'll be there Monday. He hung up before Tommy could argue, pulled over on a side street, sat with his forehead against the steering wheel. Simone was here, somewhere in this city, alive, looking like she'd been living rough. Why? He whispered to the empty car. Why didn't you just talk to me? Why didn't you let me help? The rain drummed harder. Lightning split the sky. Marcus made a decision. He pulled up the number for the private investigator he'd used 3 years ago. Diego Reyes. The man had found nothing back then, but maybe with new information. Reyes. It's Marcus Bennett. I need you again. Marcus, long time. What's going on? My ex-wife. I found evidence. She's in the city. I need you to find her. Evidence? Marcus explained about the ring, the pawn shop, the security footage. Reyes listened without interrupting. I'll start immediately, Reyes said when Marcus finished. But Marcus, if she's been off-grid for 3 years and just surfaced now, there's usually a reason. You prepared for what you might find? I just need to know she's okay, that's all. All right, I'll call you tomorrow with an update. After hanging up, Marcus sat in his car watching the rain. His phone showed 4 missed calls from Keisha. He should pick up the kids, get them home, give them dinner and baths and bedtime stories, normal things, safe things. But nothing felt normal anymore. Not with Simone's ring around his neck. Not with the image of her thin, desperate face burned into his mind. Marcus started the car and drove to Keisha's house. His sister opened the door, took one look at his face, and didn't ask questions. They're asleep again, she said quietly. You okay? No. What happened? Marcus pulled the chain from under his shirt, showed her the ring. Keisha's hand flew to her mouth. Oh my God, where did you get that? Pawn shop. She sold it 6 days ago. Simone's here, in the city. Marcus nodded. I'm going to find her, Keisha. I'm going to find her and I'm going to get answers. Marcus, Keisha's voice was careful. What if the answers are ones you don't want to hear? Then at least I'll know. He looked at his sister. I can't keep telling our kids that Mommy loves them but can't be with them. Not when I don't know if it's true. Not when she's out there somewhere and I could find her. Keisha pulled him into a hug. Okay, whatever you need. I'm here. Marcus carried his sleeping children to the car one more time. Drove home through the storm, put them to bed with practiced efficiency. Then he sat in his curtained-off bedroom area and stared at Simone's wedding ring. I'm going to find you, he whispered, and you're going to tell me why you left. Why you broke our family apart. Why you made me believe I wasn't enough. Outside, the storm raged on. Inside, Marcus held his ex-wife's ring and waited for morning. Monday morning, Natasha called Marcus. We need to talk about your wife. They met at a cafe downtown. Marcus arrived first, the ring still on its chain. When Natasha walked in, he recognized her immediately. You found her, Marcus said. Not a question. She's safe, at my place. Natasha sat across from him. But before I take you to her, you need to understand something. She didn't leave because she stopped loving you. Then why? Natasha told him everything. The fraud case, the threats, the home invasion, the choice Simone made to protect her family. By disappearing. Marcus listened, his dark hands gripping the coffee cup so hard it should have shattered. When Natasha finished, he couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. She's been living on the streets for 3 years, he finally whispered, protecting us, and I thought she just didn't want us anymore. She's sick, Marcus. She needs help, medical care she can't afford. But more than that, she needs you to know the truth. Take me to her. Simone stood when Marcus entered Natasha's condo. They stared at each other across the living room. 3 years collapsed into seconds. Hi, Simone whispered. Marcus crossed the room in 3 strides and pulled her into his arms. She was so thin, so fragile. He could feel her ribs. She smelled like Natasha's soap, not like herself, but when she pressed her face against his chest and sobbed, he knew. This was his Simone, his wife, his love. Why didn't you trust me? Marcus said against her hair. Why didn't you let me help? They would have killed you, killed our babies. So you sacrificed yourself instead. I had to. Marcus pulled back to look at her face. Thinner, older, haunted, but still beautiful, still his. We're going to fix this. Together. It's too dangerous. I don't care. His voice was steel. You're not running anymore. We end this. Now. If you're hooked on this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. Natasha made the calls that afternoon. Her journalist contact, Rebecca Walsh, met them at the condo with a recorder and a federal prosecutor named James Chen, who specialized in organized crime. Simone told her story again. Every detail, every threat, every piece of evidence she remembered from 3 years ago. Castellanos is still operating, Chen said when she finished. We've been building a case but needed a witness, someone who saw the inside of his operation. He looked at Simone. You're that witness. What about protection? Marcus demanded. For my family. Federal protection, starting tonight. Within hours, U.S. Marshals arrived. They moved Marcus, Simone, and the children to a safe house. Maya and Isaiah, confused and frightened, clung to Marcus. Daddy, who's that lady? Maya whispered, staring at Simone. Marcus knelt down, took both children's hands. That's your mommy. She's been away, but she's back now, and she loves you so much. Isaiah's eyes went wide. Really? Simone dropped to her knees, tears streaming. Really, baby, I'm sorry I was gone. I'm so sorry. Isaiah hesitated, then walked forward and hugged her. Maya followed. Simone wrapped her arms around both children and wept. Marcus watched his family embrace for the first time in 3 years and knew he'd do anything to keep them together this time. The trial moved fast. Chen's team had been investigating Castellanos for months, and Simone's testimony was the final piece. Security camera footage from the pawnshop showing the men who'd chased her provided additional evidence. Natasha testified too, described what she'd witnessed. Her security footage showed the same men had been watching her store for weeks, waiting for Simone to surface. The day of sentencing, Marcus sat in the courtroom with Simone's hand in his. Natasha sat behind them, having become something more than a stranger who'd helped, a friend. Family, almost. Richard Castellanos received 25 years. His associates received similar sentences. When the verdict was read, Simone collapsed against Marcus. "It's over. It's over," he confirmed. 6 months later, Natasha stood in Marcus's new apartment, bigger than the old one, in a better neighborhood, paid for partially by Simone's witness protection compensation and partially by Marcus's new job as head mechanic at a better garage. "You didn't have to come," Marcus said, opening the door, "but I'm glad you did." "Wouldn't miss it." Natasha held up a wrapped present. "For Maya. She told me she wanted art supplies." Inside, the apartment was chaos. Maya and Isaiah ran circles around the furniture. Simone stood in the kitchen, healthier now after months of medical treatment and proper food. Her hair was growing back in beautiful natural curls. The haunted look had faded from her eyes. She was wearing Marcus's ring again. He'd put it back on her finger 2 months ago at a quiet ceremony with just Natasha, Keisha, and the kids present. "Family's here," Isaiah shouted. Keisha arrived with her kids, then neighbors, then people from Marcus's garage, the small apartment filled with laughter and music and life. At one point, Marcus found Natasha alone on the balcony. "Thank you for everything." "I just did what anyone would do." "No." Marcus shook his head. "You did what someone with a good heart does. You saved my family." "You saved yourselves. I just pointed you in the right direction." Inside, Simone was braiding Maya's hair while Isaiah showed her his dinosaur collection for the 100th time. She listened to every word like it was the most important thing in the world. Marcus and Natasha watched through the window. "She's going to be okay," Natasha said softly. "We all are." That night, after everyone left and the kids were asleep, Marcus and Simone sat on their second-hand couch holding hands. "I found your ring in a pawn shop," Marcus said. "Worst and best day of my life. I pawned it to come home to you, to see our babies one more time. You're never leaving again." "Never," Simone promised. She pulled out the worn photograph she'd carried for 3 years. "I don't need this anymore. I have the real thing." Marcus took the photo and placed it in a frame on their new bookshelf. "We'll keep it, to remember." "Remember what?" "That love is worth fighting for. That family is worth everything. That sometimes the worst moments lead to the best ones." Simone kissed him. Soft, sure. Home. In the bedroom, Maya and Isaiah slept peacefully, both parents under the same roof for the first time in their memory. Outside, the city hummed with life. Inside, a family that had been shattered was whole again. Marcus touched the ring on Simone's finger, the same ring he'd found in a pawnshop window, the ring that had led him back to her. "Forever starts today," he whispered, repeating the inscription. "Forever starts today." Simone agreed, and this time, they meant it. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you loved this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.